I'll tell you, I don't know the two, but I did. John, you about ready to roll? Ready to roll, bro?
Oh, yes.
Press that button.
Everybody. See, look, it's. Thank you for joining us today.
Not me. Not me.
That wasn't planned. I forgot to turn the thing off. Now everybody knows what my ringtone is. Now that we've had a jolly start to the meeting, we're going to have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilman Steve Muirsmith.
Holy Father, we pray that as we meet together, we do so for your glory. Lord, let us pray in the Spirit at all times and on every occasion. Lord, help us to be alert and persistent when we pray for you, your people, and when we make decisions regarding your people. Let this meeting be effective and powerful. I declare that this meeting be led solely by you and not by our own motives. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our servicemen and women who have fought and died for our freedom, and for all those who continue to serve around the world, protecting our way of life. Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the City of Hardeeville regular City Council meeting and public hearing, 205 Main Street, Hardeeville, South Carolina, July 11th, 2024 at 3 p.m. First on our agenda is public comments. Do we have anyone signed up? Okay. Then we'll go right to public presentations. And first is the introduction of Plans Examiner.
Mayor,
Mike.
to adopt the agenda.
Oh, I'm only doing this 8 years and still can't get it right. I'm sorry. Before we have public presentation, we have to adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt today's agenda?
Second.
We got a motion. We have a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now I got it right. Now I'm in the right spot. Next is public presentations. Introduction of Plans Examiner Michael Scholes. Please, Michael, please join us at the podium. Did I say that right? Scholes?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council.
Good afternoon.
We're here today. We're going to be introducing Michael Schultz. He's our new plans examiner. He is originally from the wild, wild north, so you may have a lot in common with him, a few of you up here. He lives in Bluffton. He is a heating and air guy originally. He has had his own company and worked for another one, so he's a good guy to know this time of year. He comes to us from Hilton Head, and he has all of his plans examining certifications. And we're so happy to have him, and we're glad to have him here as a professional. And so far, he's shown us that he is going to perform quite well, and he's doing a great job so far. So I'm going to turn it over to him, let him say a few words, and if you have any questions for him.
Michael, grab the podium, make sure you're talking into it, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been working for the last 5 years for Hilton Head, doing commercial inspection and doing some plan examining near the end, right after I got my certifications and my license for that. I had my own company for 10 years doing commercial air conditioning, And then I had worked 16 years before that as a superintendent for a building company on the island called Bay 10 Ventures. Basically, I've been doing construction all my life. And I'm happy to be here. I'm enjoying the work and enjoying the people so far, for sure. And hope I have a lot to offer the town of Hardeeville.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. And council, any comments or questions for Michael?
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Plenty
Thank
of
you.
Northerners here.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah, Sam's not going there. Next, we have City of Hardeeville Award for Financial Reporting Achievement. Mr. John Boyle or Mike, you going to introduce?
Sure, yeah, just quickly, I'm not going to steal John's thunder. He already said, "Don't steal my thunder," and I will not try to do that. But all I wanted to say is, we do have a very small but mighty finance department, and we are one of the smallest communities in South Carolina that is the Triple Crown winner. So we have some wonderful folks. So I'm going to let John take it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Council and Mr. Simbor. Yeah, we have, as you're aware, we're the smallest South Carolina municipality or local government, and that receives the GFOA's Triple Crown. We've received the Audit Award for a dozen years now, the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award 3 times, and then the Popular Annual Financial Report twice, and we're waiting for our 3rd assessment of that. But anyway, this is just an opportunity for us to say thank you to our team, and you see probably more of me than you want, particularly during budget season, but we've got Cindy, who's now also serving as the interim city clerk, and Amy, our newly promoted accounting manager, are part of the team, and Jordan Mason had a prior engagement, or she'd be here with us too. That's our small but mighty team, as Mr. C says. So that's all I got, unless you have questions.
No, congratulations. You're a model for our city. You give us something to brag about, and you do a great job, and we really do appreciate it because, as you know, the budget is one of our major responsibilities as elected officials. So, council, any comments?
Thanks for a good job. We all appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Congratulations. Thank you. Next, we have the presentation and approval of minutes from the June 20th, 2024 regular city council meeting. May I have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the minutes of June 20th?
Make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. The minutes are approved. Next, we have old business, an ordinance of the City of Hardeeville, South Carolina to amend Chapter 2, Administration of the Hardeeville Code of Ordinances for the purposes of amending council compensation, expenses, and other related matters. This is ordinance 2024-6-20A. Mr. Zimbor, please.
Yes, sir. This would be raising the council and the mayor's compensation. We recommend adoption at second reading.
Okay, let's start the questioning with Mr. Musman.
I have no questions, sir.
Mrs. Guzman.
No questions, sir.
Mr. White.
No questions.
Mr. Carroll.
No, so we went over this and explained it, so no, sir.
Yeah, this is very straightforward. We're now going to have to get financial managers. We're making so much money. And so we understand what this is. I'd like to invite the public now to ask any questions or make any comments regarding this ordinance. Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the second reading of ordinance 2024-6-20A.
Make a motion, we approve ordinance 2024-6-20A on second reading.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that ordinance will take effect. The next is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Hardeeville, South Carolina, to adopt a master plan submittal for a tract of land consisting of approximately 26.6 acres, generally known as Enmark at Okatee Crossing. This is second reading also, 2024-6-20B. Mike, take her away.
I think we do have Ms. Woodruff here. We also have the applicant and the engineer. I don't think the engineer, was the engineer here last time? No, he was not. He was on vacation, right? Yeah, okay. Nathan Long from Thomas and Hunt's here. Katie, go ahead.
So there was one condition that was recommended by staff and council was in support of it, which had to do with the buffer. So they have updated the text to match the MZDO as far as the buffer requirements on Highway 170. So that has been done. I just wanted to let you know. In addition, we also got the letter from Clarite Communities, which is the Noble Vines project that you had requested. It was in your packets, and if you have any questions, again, the applicant is here.
Okay, let's start the questioning with Mr. Carroll this time.
That was the main thing we wanted was that, I guess it'd be a letter or acknowledgement or whatever from the apartment complex that was right around the corner. And they did that. That was
They did
my-
give that, yes.
That was my main thing, because I think as far as the car wash, it's got an automatic cutoff at, I think she said 8 o'clock. So I don't
Right.
think that's gonna be an issue, so I'm pretty satisfied, Mayor. That was the main, and I think that was kind of what you had mentioned too.
Yes, yes, that was, and we did get that letter, and thank you very much for getting that. And the apartment complex, for the purpose of the public, they did send us a letter saying they are aware of the Enmark property and that they have no objection to it. Mr. White?
John, I think, put his finger on the concern we all had. Thanks for getting that done, and I have no additional questions.
Mrs. Guzman?
That was one of my biggest issues was how that was going to affect the apartment complex behind with all that noise, because I did go and take a look at the city's ordinance as well, and when we talked the last week, we talked about the noise factor, the beep, beep, beep kind of thing, and, people yelling and screaming. And I did see in an ordinance that there's a noise ordinance that goes in effect at 11 o'clock at night. So I was thinking about that as well. The other thing that I wanted to ask Katie was maybe about the tree line. Are we clear cutting any trees?
Lot was previously developed, so there's
okay.
really nothing of
Okay.
significance remaining on it.
Okay, so will there be a buffer of trees between how wide is that buffer going to be?
Let me grab my coat real quick.
Oh, that's okay, take your time.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Mayor, members of council and staff. Yes, there is a buffer. It's so there's two buffers. There's one on Highway 170. It's either the larger of 30 feet from the right-of-way or 50 feet from the edge of paving through the travel lane. And then within this buffer, there's a requirement for trees planting and spacing. And then to the apartment side, there is a 15-foot planted buffer with requirements of 15 trees or 8 trees and 24 shrubs or 48 shrubs, or a 6-foot privacy fence with 20 shrubs or trees every 100 feet along that buffer.
Okay.
So
okay, so
basically, there's going to be a fence on that side
Okay.
with shrub planting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So these trees are native trees, or are you guys going to get stuff from
Yes.
Florida that's going to come die over here, kind of thing?
That would not be the plan, because
Okay,
Ordinance requires native trees.
okay, great,
have to keep them alive.
awesome. So as far as, as far as, as far as reducing the opacity from the street and, making it look nice, because, I mean, you just don't want it to look like a commercial jungle along 170. Do you guys have any plans to reduce the opacity from the road?
well, keep in mind, it is a commercial site,
Right,
which
right.
needs to be seen. So they will plant some small trees and
Okay.
shrubs. They're gonna make it look nice.
Nice, that's,
Landscape beds. You've seen End Market's newer
Yeah.
products. I mean, they do a good job. So it will be to their standards.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Mearsman?
In the past, I think everybody on this council has heard that people say, well, council just passes things willy-nilly without giving much thought to what it's going to be. And I believe this time the council has done its due diligence, staff has done its due diligence, the developer has come along. You have complied with the requests that we have had. Staff, you contacted the adjoining property owners and got everything that we requested. I think this is what good government is. We followed our own procedures, and good luck with your development. I know there was no plans to start construction right away. Do you have any idea when you may be looking at that?
No, sir. Mr. Carroll is here, but I believe the thought process is just they wanted to get through this loophole, and so they haven't started any design, I guess, as to date.
Okay, because that's always something that concerns me to the point is we pass things with no time frame of when that construction may start. I always like to know an approximate, but this is what it is at this time. But again, thank you, Mr. Carroll, you have done what we have asked of you. No more questions, sir.
I'm just looking at the minutes, and as everybody stated, it looks like everything was done. Just for the record, you're Nathan Long of Thomas and Hutton. Yes. And we did discuss flipping the units, and the answer was they're in the final stages of engineering, but also they have no objection to building the way it is, and that letter kind of satisfies that question as well. The only other comment that I want to make is we had, when public comment came up, Mr. Joseph Arzillo came up, and he said, they're not going to be bothered by the noise of the end mark. It's going to be the noise of 170. And that just that really hit home. And the point I want to make is that's why we have public comment. Sometimes we don't think of something, and here the public comes up and, wow, the light went on. And that's why you have. And I want to thank Mr. Arzillo again. I thanked him at the time. But to me, that satisfied the question of the location of the apartments, as well as the apartments saying, okay. So I have nothing further. I'm ready to go on it. So at this point, I'll invite the public to make any comments or questions regarding this end mark that will be located on Highway 170. Okay, seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes. This is ordinance 2024-6-20B.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we pass ordinance 2024-6-20B.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Good luck. And let Mr. Mearsman know when it's going to start going up, okay? Right.
Once you get its car
I need
washed.
gas in my car, so
Get that car washed.
Before 8.
Next, we have new business. This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase approximately .88 acres at 323 Randall Street. Purchase price of $73,000. This is a resolution. It will require one vote, which will be tonight, 2024-7-11A. Mr. Zimbor, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. As Mr. Carroll always says, there's always a limited supply of property. So whenever we can acquire key pieces, that's what we hope to do. So this property is on Randall Street, but adjacent to our municipal complex, adjacent to the, not the greenery, Hardy Greens, and property we also own. So it's available. We've discussed it with the property owner. We can purchase the property for $73,000 for almost 1 acre. That would add to the multifunctional ability of our future build-out needs. So we're recommending the council approve the resolution, which would start the purchasing process for this property.
Thank you. Let's start our questioning. I think it's Mr. Carroll's turn.
Mike, where is this exactly on Randall?
Right next to Hardy Greens.
Okay.
Hardy Greens is
Oh,
just,
that's what you were talking about.
right, next to the north of there, right. We looked at this parcel in the past, John, and we couldn't come up with a deal, but, yep, so we think it's a good piece of property, yes, sir.
That's a big plus to get that.
Right,
And I just like, you know, they don't make any more.
right.
Well, I don't have any other questions there. I'm wholeheartedly in favor of that for our future.
Mr. White.
I agree. It's a big plus and good job, and no other questions from me.
Mrs. Guzman.
No questions, sir.
Mr. Mearsman.
No questions.
I agree with everybody. I think this is an asset for the city. I just want to note to the public, this is several years ago as we started selling off property of the Hardeeville Commerce Park. We established a land acquisition fund for exactly this purpose, that we can make strategic purchases throughout the city. We've had a couple on Main Street, and so this was a great fund to start. This is all paid for by our profits from the Hardeeville Commerce Park, and it's going to be a great asset adjacent to City Hall. So I think this is wonderful. My compliments to everyone for creating that fund and giving us the ability to take advantage of these. So at this time, I'd like to offer to the public the opportunity to ask any questions or make any comments. Okay, seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes. This is Resolution 2024-7-11A.
Go ahead, John. No, you go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve resolution 2024-7-11A.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mike, have the go-ahead.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have a resolution authorizes the city manager to execute a memorandum of agreement for the housing of juveniles at the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice. This MOA does not obligate the city to utilize SCDJJ, but allows for the option of use if necessary. Transportation to and from is the responsibility of the Hardeeville Police Department, and the cost pursuant to state law is $50 per 24-day per child. Detention periods of between 1 to 23 hours shall be charged as a half-day charge of $25. This resolution is 2024-7-11B. Mr. Zimbor, please.
I think you covered it, Mr. Mayor. This is, I'd put housekeeping business, comes up regularly, and this allows us obviously to house juveniles. with the state. So the police chief obviously is recommending, and we're recommending adoption.
Okay, let's start with Mr. Mearsman. Any comments or questions, sir?
I see that the cost is $50 per day. 10 years ago, where I was from, we worked with this, it was $200 per day. So $50 a day is very, I like that number. Nothing else.
Mrs. Guzman,
No questions, sir.
Mr. White,
No questions.
Mr. Carroll.
Steve, once you get in the United States, things are cheaper, see?
Does it pick on me day to day or what?
Yeah.
No, I have no problem. Sam looks like he's, ready to say something.
But, you know, there are more hardened criminals up there than there are down here. See, we're all picking on you, Steve. Chief, do you have something to add?
Just to let y'all know, we try not to leave juveniles up in Columbia. We try to get them back pretty quick. We have to have a hearing within 48 hours after they are taken up to Columbia to get them back here and hopefully get them adjudicated and that kind of stuff in the juvenile court system. So we try to limit it, but you just never know how much crime you're going to have. So we have to have our budget ready just in case something does bad happen with one juvenile, has to stay up there longer than usual. So we hope that y'all will adopt that, and that's about what we've been paying for the last 5 or 6 years now. So it hasn't gone up.
You bring up a question in mind. We don't have to take them there. That's
Well,
what this says.
Certain crimes we do because of the circumstances. Most of the time, we try to turn them back over to their parents. We try in every way to turn them back over to the parents if we can, but sometimes that's not feasible. We have to take them up there, yes.
So my question is, let's say there's a juvenile incident, and it's not a major crime, but it is a crime. The parent or the home, they don't want them or whatever. So where do we take them to Columbia?
Well, we'd contact DSS to try to put them in a foster home or something like that if needed be. If for some reason the parents and all can't take care of them or that kind of thing, you know. So we'll try to go that route first before we even make that trip to Columbia. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's ask the public now. Any comments or questions that the public may have? Okay, seeing none. I know this is housekeeping and necessary, so I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, and make any changes. This is Resolution 2024-7-11B.
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 2024-7-11B.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is a resolution of the City of Hardeeville, South Carolina, authorizing the city manager to establish an application and award process to distribute school development fees collected by the city. This is a resolution 2024-7-11C. Mr. Zimbor, please.
Yes, sir. I think the council recalls recently we had a workshop to talk about the development of fees that are in specific development agreements and the amounts that we've collected, some of the criteria specified in the development agreements regarding the use of the fees, and we told the council that we'd bring back some type of process in which we could develop a review and application and/or dissemination of those fees. So we're recommending a process similar that we use for our nonprofit funding, in which the council would annually, during the strategic planning process, determine priorities of use of funding for that year, whether it's workforce training, whether it's capital construction, whether it's equipment purchases for the various eligible entities, and then we would authorize a annual application process, which would be done through the Hardeeville Transformation Foundation. So Mr. Parsons and Mr. Davis worked on a resolution and some criteria, and we're recommending the council consider that as a way to a future allocation of the voluntary development fees collected for school and other eligible entities. Mr. Parsons.
There's not much left to say, as he stole the thunder as normal.
Right.
So it's,
Stole the thunder
so
again.
I mean, I mean, he did say a lot. I'll be here to answer any questions and stuff as we move forward with it. We have the process in place that we use for ARPA. We also have moved over to discretionary grant funds the same way. And basically, I mean, you all still set your priorities, you still set the budgets. The city controls the funds and reimburses the nonprofit based on the awards of the grants and stuff as those grants get awarded. In this type of process, I mean, I envision, I mean, the DA restricts certain use of the school funds, certain categories. So the grant process would be set up that you would have capital, you'd have programs, you'd have unrestricted use. And we would run that once a year. We would set those amounts of stuff as needed. This is for schools or educational programs, the way that we got this in place with the resolution. That also includes for workforce training, development, maybe left to self-help, teaching their English second language courses. Anything that deals with education for our area is something that we would look at and try to prioritize and stuff, those projects and stuff with me. And so happy to answer any questions.
Okay, let's start with Mr. Carroll.
We had talked about this last time, and it was a little fuzzy, kind of, what we were gonna do. And I understand exactly what you're saying today, but I guess the big question would be, are you gonna have some type of committee of people that are gonna look at all this and determine which criteria is worth funding and which is not, and so you can explain to people how it's done?
Yeah, so with any of the grant process we have in place, we have strict guidelines and stuff that indicate this is what you can apply for, this is how it's going to be awarded, this is how it's going to be scored. We choose usually a 3-person panel to score the
That's what I was
grants.
gonna-
That's
okay.
usually not tied to the nonprofit itself, and as a result, I mean, we make it as competitive as possible, as fair as possible, and transparent as
Okay.
possible, without any judgments and stuff being leaned in any direction. So.
Okay, good, that's what I need, okay. No further, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. White.
Neil, could you refresh my memory, on an annual basis, how much are we talking about in terms of funds roughly?
For the collection of school fees.
Yeah, in terms of the.
Our city attorney may be better to address that, or city manager.
Well, so currently, Mr. White, we have $1.3 million and obviously accumulating monthly interest, and then some of the development agreements pay based on when a building permit is issued in the area covered by the development agreement. So annually, I guess what we're suggesting is the council, we would provide the data to the council saying, here's what's in each of the funds. Council, you determine the type of priorities for the programming and could say I'm just giving you an example, of the 1.3 million this year, we want to allocate 500,000, and here's the priorities that we want to, the application process, kind of the notice of grant award, notice of grant application. These are things we're going to be looking for. We're going to have this amount of money available. Anyone that's eligible to apply could apply, and then would go through the transformation application process.
In that arena, and for those players, that's really a real opportunity and a sizable amount of money. So, yeah, so that's, it gets your attention, those kind of funds.
It also serves the purposes of stuff, what those funds and stuff have been established for in previously through the DA group. So.
And I think they could make a real difference with some of the quality projects that come about.
That is correct. And
Mike, thank you very much for that update over there. Appreciate it.
And what this does, it allows us to spend the monies that we have previously collected, but also allows us to spend the monies moving forward as they are collected. To answer your question, the amount will vary based on how our development stuff continues to grow. So.
Mrs. Guzman.
I just have one question, Neil. Will this be confined to just Hardeeville, the city of Hardeeville and Jasper County, or will this be spreading a little bit outwards?
We will be the best to serve the region as best as possible. As you know, that Hardeeville crosses into Jasper and Beaufort counties. So it gives us the flexibility to move. I mean, if we're helping higher education, we're helping, workforce training type. I mean, it gives us the ability to work through the various programs that offers education opportunities to our residents, and those residents could be taking those classes in somewhere in Beaufort County. So we're not going to be limited there, but we're going to evaluate each, put the criteria and stuff in there, and see what makes them, as far as the most sense as those applications come in.
Thank you.
Mr. Mearsman?
As I'm reading this, I understand this is just the first step in the process of putting this all together. I just was talking out loud that this could even apply to Technical College of the Low Country.
Very much so. Yes, sir.
When do you see this program going live that we can put this together?
Within 2 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, it would take that long to get the guidelines and stuff in place and get it published and stuff on the website. And we have the process in place, as we said before, so the guidelines just get tweaked a little bit. The application gets created and stuff more focused toward the school systems. So within 2 weeks, this will go live. So
Okay.
1st of August, it's up and running. So
Okay. Could you give us a report in August sometime then, just to see?
very
'cause
much so.
This is a real feather in our cap for doing this. We're taking that step. And I remember in the discussion of this, we went back and forth discussing of all of the types of schooling that we really wanted in this. We never looked at just one. We covered a lot of them in there, and I think we've come up with a great program. Counting on you all to put our thoughts into words and make it work for us, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thank you.
And as the city continues to grow, we'll be faced with many different educational opportunities that we have to work with to move our city forward. So
Absolutely.
Okay, Neil and I had a conversation prior to the meeting about this very thing, and I think most of the questions were answered, including the start date. Now, what Neil and I talked about is if we pass this, then, and they get this set up, that we will, Neil will contact the schools and tell them that there is that availability, explain the application process and the competitiveness of getting the money. So that will start August 1st once we get it, and Neil will contact places like we all said we want TCL to be contacted for that workforce training center. And so that will all happen, and you'll get that going. So that's great. There's just one other thing that I think council needs to be aware of is, and it was Mr. Zimbor said it, not every planned development district has school DA fees. That's correct. So it will grow because some do have it. I don't know who has off the top of my head, and it's not important, but it will grow, but it doesn't grow, it's not going to grow with every single house. Okay, that's great. I think this is terrific, and I think it's a great opportunity for the city to contribute to the education of our kids. Thank you. I'd like to now open it up to the public. Would anybody like to ask a question or make a comment regarding this resolution? All right, seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to this is Resolution 2024-7-11C.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-7-11C.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is a resolution to approve and accept the bid from a general contractor, BRW Construction Group, located out of Savannah, Georgia, to repair and upgrade Highway 17 pump station. That's 2024-7-11D. Mike, you first?
No, I think Mr. Brown, our very capable and competent Public Works Director, is here to present the next two items.
All right.
Mr. Brown, welcome.
Mr. Mayor, Council, it's a great pleasure to be here this afternoon, discuss this with you. This project actually is coming from the FY24 budget. It took us a while to, one, get the pump. Actually, they had to design and then build the pump, and then find contractors that could actually install this particular pump. I don't know if any of you have been out there to see where we're talking about, but this is out by US Foods off of 17 there. It's right in the back part of that complex. It's an interesting type of pump. It's about well, you can see a picture there. I hope you've got this in your package there. You can see the pump. It's the top right. It's the new one there. And then you can see the existing one. It's about, oh, there we go. It's about 16 to 18 feet long. Sits at an angle. You can see in the top left up there. That's the pump that's sitting there right now. It's been there for about 20 years. And it has been down now for probably 4 years, well before I got here. Since then, we've been running a mobile pump out there that bypasses that pump, that pushes the water from the pond to the ditch that takes it out to 17. Very, very inefficient. And oh, by the way, we're spending about $44,000 a year for that mobile pump to be sitting out there. So it's a high dollar to do that. So we are now at the point now where we've got the new pump built. That's the top right. That showed up at Public Works about 3 months ago. And since then, we've been working to get good contractors that we can ask to bid on this. And so we've got actually two. We talked to others, but they weren't comfortable with this type of pump. So the two that we see here, BRW and then Noel Construction, both provided bids, and you can see the cost from both. They're right in line with one another. So it's like you take the cost and throw it out the window now. Now we start to look at, all right, what are the other factors? Well, reason why we're going with BRW is because they're more local. They're out of Savannah. The second reason is they've worked with this type of pump before. They've installed this type of pump. To me, that's a plus. As well as they're working with Chatham Engineers for the electrical piece of it, which is also a good thing because they're out of Savannah, Georgia. They're local as well. So that's why we're recommending we go with BRW for this particular project. It's going to be a quick project. We're estimating maybe 60 days at most to get in there, remove this, do the clean out of the pond that we need to do, put the pump in place, and then provide electrical upgrades that are needed out there as well. So that's where we're at right now. Is there any questions on that? So we're asking you to approve BRW as a contractor that comes in and takes care of this issue for us.
I have one question with BRW.
You gotta wait your turn.
Oh, okay, fine. Tell me, Mr. Mayor, my turn.
Would you hold him back?
Oh, yeah.
He's excited.
He's excited. I haven't seen him
I'm used to
this
faster
excited
mayor.
about a pump. And
Is there-
so we're going to start with Mr. Mearsman. And, you know,
Can I take your place, Steve?
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Keep me in order.
John, what is the total cost of this project? I mean, what I'm looking at here, this is the installation of it. How much was the pump?
So the pump was actually 60. So we're overshooting a little bit, but we're working out that right now to make sure we can cover all of this. And one way we're looking at doing a lot of this is Public Works is going to do a lot of the work out there. In other words, we're going to remove fences. We're going to take away the spoils that are pulled out of the pond. We're going to dispose of those types of things. That's going to bring the cost within where we're at with the budget and everything.
Okay, does BRW, does that include the electrical work?
Yes, sir, it does. They're working with Chatham Engineers to
Okay, so-
design it. It's minimal upgrades. What we're asking them to do is give us something, basically works off a float switch that will give us an automatic start and stop so that I don't have to send my guys out there constantly to turn it on, turn it off, which is what they were doing previously. That's just inefficient. So,
Okay, that's all I have.
yes, sir.
Mrs. Mearsman.
Wait.
Mrs. Mearsman. Mrs. Guzman.
It's okay.
We're gonna beat on you later today.
Oh, man.
Bronco.
I had an early start today. I had a talk on Hilton that I think I need more coffee. Sorry.
It's okay, sir. I have two questions. What's the warranty on that pump?
So the warranty on that one's going to be, the workmanship is typically for things like this, it's 1 year, but this pump, it has, I believe, it's a 15-year warranty that comes with it.
Okay.
So now we're anticipating this is going to last a lot longer than 15 years. The one that was out there, went almost 20 years, one that's out there right now. So we're anticipating this one being, it's the same type of pump, but I think it's new technology that's built within it that's going to help it last a little bit longer.
And the labor, they're going to warranty their work?
Yes.
For how long are they going to warranty?
I mean, typically you'll get a 1-year
year.
warranty on,
Okay.
on labor. So,
All right.
and this is such a, even after that, this is kind of a simple pump design. I'm sure that my guys, if we needed to do any type of work out there, could handle that. So,
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Are you finished, Mr. Miasma?
Mrs. Mason.
He's picking on me today.
No, I'm not. I was picking on Val. I was taking the heat off of you. Mr. White, I understand you have something to say as well.
No questions, no. I just had once this is installed, talk a little bit about the maintenance on a regular basis. And do we outsource that to like BRW? Or can we do the twice-a-year annual checkups with our own staff? How does that work? I'm just curious.
so I would say that we could probably do those status updates ourselves to check it and such. But what I would say is during the warranty period, absolutely calling out them for any kind of labor issues that might come up within a year or so after it's installed. But again, most of this thing is going to, it's just going to almost self-sustain. What's going to be the issue is us staying out there and keeping the pond clean of sediment and things like that so it doesn't get sucked up into the pump. That's an issue that I see where Public Works is really going to make its money out there, is because this thing is going to pump a lot of water very fast, which is unlike what it's doing right now. Right now, you literally have a 6-inch diameter hose that's routing from the pond around to the ditch that's taking it to 17. This is going to be an 18-inch gate that's going to open up at 9,000 GPM. That's going to pump a lot of water very, very fast. So it's up to us to make sure that downstream, particularly the ditch lines, the piping is kept clean so that the water can flow properly.
And you've got that capacity to do that?
We do, and it's the next one I'm going to talk to you about is going to help us even more with that. So,
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good setup. Mr. Carroll.
No, so I don't have any, pretty well what Stephen them asked a while ago answered my question. And I just wanted the public to make sure but you just explained, because I wasn't sure that they understood what the purpose of that pump, but you pretty well explained what it does, so.
Yes, sir. I can give you a little bit more. So the city right now has 2 pump stations. One's sitting over at McTier. That takes care of a certain part of the city. This area is taken care of by this pump. So it's between 46 right here, 17, parts of 95 actually drain into that area. So the Carmora area over here, half of Main Street will drain that way. If you think about driving that way down Main Street and you see the big canal over to the right, that is what leads right directly to the pump. So it's a very long stretch of canal that leads, and everything in the city then drains into that canal. So it picks all that up. So again, it's an important piece of infrastructure for the city because it's one of 2, and it's been out now for 4 years. So we're going to change our stormwater quite drastically, I believe, with this install.
No further questions.
Mr. Brown, when I first got to the city, it was explained how that all flows, and that pump was inadequate at the time, and this is 9 years ago. So I understand this is greatly needed. So as I understand it, and just please confirm what I'm thinking, because this pump is now an efficient pump and it will pump faster than the old one, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So that will draw all the water that's downtown, help that flow through 17 and out to the Savannah River without causing flooding. Is that
It's
correct?
going, depending on what type of system we have coming through and such. I mean, there's some storm events, as you probably know, that nothing's going to stop some flooding.
Right.
But in a typical event, I think you're going to see it help a lot. Now, when you talk about down here, a lot of this actually goes to the McTier pump station,
Right,
which
okay.
we also have issues with, which will be coming to you hopefully soon on that, as far as getting some repair work done on that one. But this one, if you think about it, somewhere around where we're building those new apartments right down here. I can't remember the name of the apartments right down here. So from that point, that way is pretty much what's being collected by this particular pump station. And yes, it's going to help the water flow.
Help the water flow here, and it should help the water flow of whatever's along 17, because now the water will get, especially once we give you the excavator and keep those culverts, it'll help the flow to the Savannah River.
Yeah, it's going to push more water onto 17. So it behooves us to be in front of that. In other words, we're cleaning out those pipes, we're cleaning out those ditch lines to ensure that water flows efficiently. Yeah, you have to do that, and then you get to the outfall that leads directly into the Savannah River. We have no control over that. That's based on the level of the Savannah River at whatever time, and if it's backed up, if it's high, then of course that's going to keep water high back for us. But as soon as Savannah River goes down, this pump is going to be pushing water in that direction. Absolutely.
All these questions were for a reason.
Sure.
This thing is going to help, excuse me, are the people along 17. Is that correct?
So you're going to see more effect, I believe, in the Carmore area over here. We last summer, we did some projects over there that took care of some flooding issues they were having. People's yards were literally getting flooded out with just a typical rainstorm. So we figured that flow out, and we fixed that. Now the next thing is to fix this. So that takes more of the water to that large canal, the work we did last year. Now we got to get that water that's in that large canal out. And that's what this pump station's going to do.
So it helps everybody along 17. It helps downtown.
When you say along 17, so let me say this again. So the water from our neighborhoods is going to be pushed to 17.
Right.
So my team needs to be out front of that to ensure
Understood.
that 17. Now I'll say this too: 17 right of way is not the city's. It's DOT. However, we do a lot of the maintenance out there for that. So it behooves us to be out in front of that, clearing the pipes and clearing the ditch lines to make sure that water's flowing the way it should be.
And that's where I was headed. This helps DOT.
Oh, most
and
definitely.
It helps unincorporated Jasper County.
Yes, indeed.
And so my question is, shouldn't they chip in and help us with this? Don't have to answer that.
I'll stay out of that conversation if you
No,
like.
stay out of it.
Yes, sir.
But I think it may not be a bad idea to ask. I mean, it's, we're putting something in that benefits the city, benefits DOT, especially with the next thing, and it helps Jasper County.
So again, the putting in the pump not necessarily is going to help DOT. What's going to help DOT is my team out there clearing their ditches. That helps them.
Okay.
Right. That helps them. The pump is intended to help the city, the residents of the city, particularly down in this little quadrant over here, get water out of their front yards when we have these storms that come through. That's the major intent. And that canal that sits down here, again, that is think of it as the major thoroughfare that's going to take water away from those communities. But right now it's moving very, very slowly because, again, it's going through a 6-inch diameter hose through a mobile pump as opposed to a pump that should be pushing it, which is this.
Okay. I won't pursue it any further.
All right, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
John, I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago. I saw the state was clearing a small portion of the ditch between the rec center and 17 there along John Smith Road. Do they pick and choose what ditches they feel like cleaning when they do this? That doesn't.
Short answer is yes. Now I'll say this: my team is always out there, and we are always. I actually drive it every single day, and I'm looking for areas that need to be cleared. and such. And so then with my limited staff, I will make priorities based on that and say, I need you to get over here, which will come into our next conversation that we'll have. But yes, DOT, they were out there in that's the First Street area, John Smith, right on the corner there. That one area they were working, that house, I believe, has some of the worst flooding in the city that I've seen. It's just sitting very, very low. That area is sitting very, very low, and those ditches, if the water's not flowing properly, it just backs right up. And I've seen probably a foot of water up against the house at times. It goes down fairly quick, but with properly maintained, stormwater, that shouldn't happen.
Well, that's just, the point is are you compiling a list of these ditches that the state should maintain and not, and that we're doing? I mean, if we have something that we say, hey, listen, this is what you're supposed to be doing. It was just aggravating to me knowing that the problems that we have with our drainage here, to see them working that little bitty stretch there, and then they packed up and off they left.
Yeah, they'll come out and do an assessment, and they'll say, okay, here's where we're going to focus, and then that's what they do, and everything. But you know what? I'll say this, sir. Thank you, DOT. That's just something that my guys don't have to go do now. At least that part of it.
Okay.
So
That's all.
Okay, so let's ask the public. If anyone from the public has a comment or question, please come forward. Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve. This is Resolution 2024-7-11D.
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 2024-7-11D.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council of the public? Seeing none, call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brown's not going anywhere, so this is the resolution of the city of Hardeeville authorizing the city manager to purchase a new mini excavator for public works. This is resolution 2024-7-11E. Mr. Zimbor?
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
thanks,
Okay.
sir. Let me preface it by saying I did not mean to put these two together because they seem to go together very, very well. However, with that being said, we do need this piece of equipment. We give you some background. We have a Mini X right now, smaller than the one that we're requesting right now. Over the past year, at least since last summer, maybe last spring, we have been putting it through the motions. We have used it a lot to take down houses, the Dasher House down here, to do other things, to clear John Smith Road. We've the drainage on John Smith. These are things that particular piece of equipment is not designed to handle. It's just too big. The reach on the one that we have right now is not where we need it to be. What we're asking for is a larger Mini X that's going to give us, this one here is going to give us actually 8 feet more of reach. That's substantial. When you're talking about sitting up on a bank of a ditch or a canal like this down here, and I've got to reach down 12 or 14 feet to the bottom to clear that out. I can't do it with the piece of equipment I have right now. Piece of equipment I have right now, I think, is on its last leg. What I mean by that is we are experiencing now, it's having this fuel heat sensing issue that literally shuts the machine down. Whenever it senses that, it shuts down. So it'll operate for about an hour, and then it shuts down for 45 minutes. And then it'll cool down and we'll operate a little bit more. That's inefficient. We can't get a lot done. I've had my guys over here in this community the last 2 or 3 days trying to clear some ditches, and it's just really not efficient. So hour-wise, the machine that we have now it's at its lifespan, its recommended lifespan. And so what we're doing is we're asking for consideration for a new excavator, mini excavator. And what we did is we went out to 3 different manufacturers, and we just got comparisons as to what we needed. And what we listed up here, with the horsepower, the reach, particularly the tracks, that's very, very important as well, because we need to take these things into areas where, rubber tracks are really not going to be the way to go. And we listed out here what we've got from each one of them. You can see, I think that the prices, the total costs that we show up here are negligible because they're all so close together. If you take the average of that and then you look at the one that we're recommending to Blanchard, the cat, it's literally less than 1% off the average of all that you see there. So I think the cost is something that we can just basically set aside, and we look at other things, particularly the reach. Again, it's all of them across the board are pretty close on the reach, but again, it's about 8 feet more than what we have right now. Substantial when you're thinking about what you have to do out there. And then you look at the mower attachments, the 60-inch for the Blanchard and the Steen, of course, that's what we need. That is used for slope mowing. So again, here's another example of DOT in the city. DOT owns basically the intersections, right? So all the grass cutting and things and the intersections and things should be DOT. We, however, handle exit 5. Our guys are out there doing that. And so when you go out there and you look, at least for the overpass for 17, you have slopes like this of grass. It's tough for a zero-turn mower to get up there. So what we do is you utilize something like this with a mower attachment that can reach up and take care of that. It's much more efficient. It's much more safer than trying to drive a zero-turn mower up the side of that slope. So very, very important to us as well. We looked at all 3 of these. Actually, Hills, actually is the Hitachi one. They actually sent one to us, left it here for a couple of days that one of my guys could get on it and out in the backyard there at Public Works and move some dirt around and see how it worked. The other one, the Cat, they're local. They're right here in town in Hardeeville, so we were able to go over there and put our hands on those pieces of equipment. And then the other one there, the Kubota, we didn't have an opportunity to really demo or get close to that. But with all of that together, what we decided on was the Cat made more sense. And there's a couple reasons for that because they're local. They're right here in our backyard. Blanchard just right up 17 here. Any kind of service that we would need, they're right here. They've always been good partners with us anytime we needed to rent anything from them, as well as any kind of parts that might need to be procured to make any kind of repairs to this piece of equipment. I think it's easy to get through them. So I think again the costs are so close together. We just put that aside and we look at the other variables, which are the closeness of Blanchard to us, and plus our already existing relationship with them. I think that makes it the best deal for us. So we're asking for your consideration for that.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. It's not your turn yet, okay?
Holding yourself back.
Mr. Carroll.
Well, look at this, John. If you need it, you need it. I mean, you know what you're talking about, and that's why we have you here to trust your judgment. So with that, I think it's a win-win. You need this to help your guys and be more efficient, and we're buying from local. I hear compliments all the time about Blanchard,
Sure.
and they follow up. So it's local, and so I think it's a win-win.
Sure.
Mr. White.
John, excellent analysis about the.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. I think your analysis on Blanchard, I agree with you. It's only a few $1,000s difference, and you have confidence in the fact they're local, and that'll make parts and keeping in communication a lot better. So I think that's an excellent recommendation.
Mrs. Guzman.
We need it, right?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Then we need to go get it.
That's right.
That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mearsman.
John, as I'm looking at the picture here, did the unit that they proposed at this price have the mechanical thumb?
I do not know that. I don't have a good answer for you on that. Talking about the operation of it, I would say it probably does.
The machine is twice as functional, because I've run these machines. They're twice as functional with that mechanical thumb. You're able to pull limbs and everything else out of these ditches that much faster. If it doesn't have it on there, I think that's definitely something that should be put on there, just for the efficiency wise. The piece of equipment that we have now is on the end of its life. What do you propose to do with it?
We actually, what we're proposing to do is we get this new piece of equipment and get it out there working for us. We want to pull that in and try to do some, for the existing one, see if we can't extend the life a little bit, but we have to take it off the road in order to do that.
Understanding.
And I think we're probably looking at a total overhaul for that. It's going to give Bob Payne a lot of work to do on that. But then we got to look at if we do that, what's the cost of that? If the cost is just too prohibitive, we're not going to go down that road. I think maybe we eventually salvage that, or surplus that if we need to.
Okay.
But I would like to still maybe utilize that. Here's why I say that, and I know the council is well aware of that. The MS4 requirement is coming our way. That's no secret. And having more of this capability, I believe, is the right thing to do. This larger piece of equipment is going to help us with removing and setting new pipe out there. It's also going to, allow us to do some deeper ditch cleaning that we need to do, while the other one, the smaller one, can do some other things for us if we can keep it running. If we find that it's going to just be too costly, then I think we make that decision to surplus.
I see that we're going to have to purchase a trailer.
Yes, sir.
Are you soliciting bids on that also?
Yes, sir. We've actually went out and we've looked. We've received, we received 3 quotes, and they averaged about $15,000. There was one that was 12 and one that was 17 and some change, and so then the third one was right about 15. So we're looking at about 15,000, but that's in the cost. So if you look at the cost of the CAT and then you add that to it, then that's why we're asking not to exceed 169,000 in the resolution.
Okay.
That covers all of that.
Last, how quickly would you be able to get this piece of equipment online?
We've been talking to CAT. I think they're ready to. I think they're ready to roll. They're waiting on us. We've talked. I think it's going to be fairly quick. I can't give you an exact date or anything like that, but I think it's going to be fairly quick. I want it to be quick because we need to get out there and get some work done with this.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask that is because I see we're a resolution for the excavator. It doesn't say a trailer too. Having that piece of equipment without having the trailer to move around on.
No, that's true. Actually, I kind of wanted to show it as a package here. That's kind of the way I put it on this right here, where we said, $15,000, and then the resolution itself calls for not to exceed 169,000.
Okay.
Which would be the cost of the equipment and the trailer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have to add.
John, the question, this is a big piece of equipment. And by the way, I agree with everybody. We should always give special consideration to shop local.
Yes, sir.
Thrive local. My only question is, it's a big piece of equipment, and I know these things stay outside. Do we have room to store it?
So as you may recall, we just earlier this year built a new outdoor storage facility for our
it'll go in
equipment.
that
It will
shed?
go underneath that.
Okay.
It'll be out of the elements.
It'll be, okay. And we have enough room under there?
Yes, sir.
We built it
Yes, sir.
Big enough to?
Yeah, we sized that so that we could get everything that we needed under there. So I think we're good there. Yes, sir.
And how many of our guys, this obviously, I couldn't go driving this without some sort of training. How many of our guys have the capability and the licensing to ride these things?
So we have 3 right now.
3?
One is our facility manager, Joel. One is Tony Washington, who does the excavator work right now for us. And the other one is the new hire that you met at the last, her name was Barry. He comes to us with CDL as well as heavy equipment operation experience.
So we have 2 pieces of equipment that could conceivably be operating at the same time.
That's ideal. That's what we would like. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so, and we only have 3 people. Now, just plant a seed in your head. Maybe we need more CDLs because there's always sickness, vacations, and so.
Absolutely.
With additional equipment, you might need additional training.
We are in the mindset of hiring right. So we will definitely look at that. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you get in a bind, John, I can still run them.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's open it up to the public. Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes. This is Resolution 2024-7-11E.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-7-11E.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council of the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, John. Next, we have the manager's report. Mike?
Yes, sir. 3 quick things. July 16th, around noon, correct me if I'm wrong, James, we will be unveiling our new website. So we've been working with our website provider and our SID staff, and that will launching, I think, at noon on the 16th. So look forward to that. Festival on Main is October 10th through 12th. Mr. Parsons and myself, more Mr. Parsons this year, extraordinaire in raising money and contacting our partners, and we believe we're going to have approximately $112,000 of sponsorship from our partners. Last year, as we raised $100,000 for our festival on Main, so we're looking forward to an extremely wonderful, well-attended festival with all kinds of really top-notch entertainment. So we're looking forward to that. More to come. And then finally, I want to give James credit again. We've been contacting our friends at Hargray. Our PEG channel, Public Education and Government channel, will be going digital and high definition here, hopefully very soon. So the picture and the sound quality will be unmatched. So that's supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen in the next week or so. So a lot of kudos to James for working on that for quite a while. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's start alphabetically and go with Mr. Carroll.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I've only got a few things. One, I wanted to echo what Mike just said. I had seen it in one of the emails, because that's one of the complaints. And poor James, I came up here one day, not too long ago, to Mike, and I said, Mike, so-and-so's not working. And he called James, and James came right, you remember, and James came right up here, and he saw so-and-so's not talking to each other or something. So it's always something, and, and a lot of the senior citizens, and then some of the young people too, that just sometimes just want to relax and watch it on TV, what's going on. So I think that's a big, big plus. And I wanted to put kudos out to Jen. That was a great fourth on Main, I guess you'd call it, back in last month. But anyway, she did a great job. The weather actually cooperated, and it wasn't too bad, and it turned out real good. And in closing, I hate to give Steve too much credit, but anyway, I have to echo one of the things that Steve said today, and I hope that the public is aware of that. But Steve made a comment that, some people think that anything that the planning department or the city manager or public works or whatever, that we just approve it. And that's not true. And you can see through the interrogation that poor John got through tonight, but we make sure, and the developments that come in, we had one tonight that we made come back and show us some more things before we would give a second reading approval. And on top of that, there's a lot that we disapprove that the public never knows that we keep from coming. So anyway, I just thought that was a good point, and to let the public know that we do try to guard the city and do the best that we can. All right, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. It's a good segue to, let's see, Mrs. Guzman, right?
So, yes, you're right. It's not Mrs. Newsom. I'm gonna get
I'm never going to hear the end of that, I'm sure. Never going to hear the end of it.
and I'm sure Steve will have something to say about this too, but I'm not talking about that. We had a meeting with the gentleman from Beaufort Jasper on Monday We were able to get a lot of questions answered, put out a lot of concerns that we had about the quality of water, water pressure, where do we go from with all the development that's going on, how are they going to keep up with the demand? So we got some answers, some we didn't get. He's going to be meeting with the rest of city council, so he can pick your brains as well, to see what your opinions are about what's going on out there. So I thought that was a really great meeting that we had, don't you think so? Yes. Very fruitful, so that's all I have to say.
Okay. Mr. Mearsman.
That's me. First, I'd like to make sure this is all recorded because John Carroll gave me a compliment there. I really want that out there. Last month, 4th on Main, excellent event. My family looks so forward to that, and the smile on my grandchildren's faces made it all worthwhile that we as a city do this. Ms. Guzman and I, we did meet with the representative from Beaufort Jasper Water, and there are some major concerns out there. I think everybody within the community has. I've talked with Neil, our coffee conversation within my community about having folks from Beaufort Jasper come and talk. Open lines of communication are so very important. We see that sitting here on the city council, and Beaufort Jasper needs to have that also within the community. Just to reassure them that they are doing the absolute best they can given the circumstances that we all live in. Next week, I believe myself and a couple of the other council, we're going to be attending the Municipal Associations of South Carolina up in Greenville. I look forward to that. Last year was my first year doing that, but the educational opportunities that they have there really assisted me over this past year, and I'm looking forward to taking some more of the classes as we move forward. Hardeeville's moving forward fast, very fast, and we have to be on top of these new developments, issues that face the whole community. We got a great staff. We as a council need to support that great staff. I think we're doing that, and we're going to continue that in the future. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. White.
John and Neil, I'd like to just say to both of you, we're getting ready to make investments in both people and equipment, and that makes a real difference with people's tax dollars, that they see something really coming out of it that makes a difference, and those are important projects. For me, I had a little health incident, and I've been sort of getting back to normal, and I left my little walker thing at home for the first time, and so that's good. And I've been working with the council as we look at applicants both internally and externally for our city manager's position, and spent a lot of time on that, and we're getting down to the next step, and we'll be talking about that among ourselves. And and those have been really the focus of my time of the last 30 days, basically. No other things to report.
Okay, couple of things. First of all, the last Soloco meeting had a really good, our state representative, Shannon Erickson, talked about the needs for childcare in the region. A very important issue, and I'm going to ask Soloco to continue to pursue that subject because it's a great need that we have in the entire region. I'll join everybody else in saying congratulations for a great 4th on Main. I'm glad I got a chance to see it, although I had to cancel my vacation to get there, but a great event, and congratulations. There will be another event this weekend, tomorrow night and Saturday, the Legends basketball tournament that started last year. And what this is, these are former high school basketball players. They will come back and represent their high schools, and there's a round-robin tournament. There's 2 games Friday night, starting at 7 o'clock, and then I think about 6 games on Saturday starting at 11 o'clock. I did get texted that schedule a couple of hours ago, so I'll forward it to the council. It's kind of neat. These are pretty good basketball players. Chief, but it's really good. A gentleman by the name of Alex Percival spends a lot of time getting this together. So, if you want to come out and watch some of the former high school players from the area play against each other again, come and support that. We had a press conference at 1 o'clock regarding Exit 3 and the Riverport development area. Senator Davis was there, and Representative Bill Hager, and our superintendent of schools. And we had, I think, about 3 TV stations there. So you may see that on the 5 o'clock news. I did speak, as I mentioned briefly, I spoke to the GIC on Hilton Head Island at 7:30 this morning. But I explained a little bit about the proposed transportation sales tax that Jasper County will be probably passing. The second reading is Monday night. That is truly will be a regional presentation of Beaufort and Jasper County, if Jasper County does indeed pass that, which is expected. Just want to remind everybody, if they would like to be part of Team Hardeeville on October 26th, the Alzheimer's walk, please let me know. I did go on their website and start a team. I think our team already has raised a couple $100. So keep that in mind. You want to join the team, I'll show you, and if you haven't, I'll show you how to get on. Let's see, we got that. I wanted to say we had a workshop with Jasper County to go over that transportation sales tax, and I think that could have been the best meeting with Jasper County and Ridgeland that we've had since I've been mayor. It was a great meeting, a great outcome. People, expressed themselves, gave ideas. Everybody had a good open session, and I think we came up with a good product for the transportation sales tax. So my compliments. And lastly, I did announce, I did a little flip, and on August 1st at noon, I will pick up the packet and file for re-election as mayor. Having said that, I will now ask for a motion to adjourn. Oh, no, excuse me. Forgot. Not reading well again. Next part is our executive session, and we will be discussing employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee, a student, or a person regulated by the public body, or the appointment of a person to the public body in accordance with South Carolina's Code of Law 30-4-70A1. We will be discussing the city manager candidates, and we will adjourn from that session. We will not come back to open session. So I'd like a motion to enter into executive session.
Make a motion, we enter into an executive session.
We have a motion, we have a second. Second. We have a motion, we have a second. Any comments or questions by council? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are now in executive session.